Hello, and welcome to the Park Podcast, the Mars Park SGA's podcast series. My name's Carson, and I'm the senior representative here to answer all your questions about Mars Park. On today's episode, we'll be discussing small business in Charlotte and how we can support them. Here with me today are some other student government representatives.
Hi, I'm Kate Bundin, and I'm also a senior representative.
Hi, I'm Paige Bundin, and I'm a sophomore representative.
Hi, I'm Angry Oxrider, and I'm also a sophomore representative.
So I know that in times of COVID, a lot of small businesses are struggling right now, which is super sad because Charlotte has such a good scene for small businesses.
I think it's really important to not only think about, when you think about small businesses, you'd often think about restaurants and stuff like that, but you have to think about services too, like hairdressers and stuff. I know that they were really struggling during COVID because nobody wants to go in and get their hair done and blown out. That's just not somebody's top priority. I know that businesses were closed towards the beginning of COVID when everyone was really scared and everyone was quarantined. But so that I think took a toll on them, and because they didn't have any business for probably a few months.
Yeah.
But for me, my hairdresser is named Dash, and she works at 1213 Studio, and she's the best. But I just felt really bad that she didn't have the ability to work, really.
But something that is really important is that they have been adapting to COVID, so they've been putting in place specific regulations, like how many people can be in the store, and making sure everyone's wearing masks at all times to minimize the spread of COVID. And it's definitely, I felt safe when I was getting my hair done. So there's just specific things that can be done that small businesses are putting in place, and we can still support them. I noticed that Lang Van is a really good Vietnamese small business, and there was an article done in Charlotte Observer about how they were kind of struggling a lot. And so someone in the community actually made a GoFundMe and helped them kind of rise above their struggles from COVID. And that's just definitely something I thought was super cool, is how people can come together in times that are definitely hard to help small businesses that definitely need it.
I think it was kind of a big test of our community. Like Kate was saying, the whole community came together to donate and make sure that Lang Van could get back on their feet. And it just shows those things are so important. And I don't know, I think it kind of brought the community of Charlotte together.
Yeah, I really agree with that, Paige. And I also just think our goal with this podcast too was COVID is still happening, and to also bring awareness to the little small businesses around Charlotte for our listeners to maybe go and check out. One that I immediately thought of was Laurel Market. It's in the Eastover neighborhood, and it's a super small little market restaurant with a deli. You can get sandwiches, and they have chips, and it's a store that I've gone to my whole life, really, and that was a business that I thought straight to when thinking about how COVID can affect businesses.
Something also that's definitely noteworthy about Charlotte is how good their food truck scene is. So I know pre-COVID they had Food Truck Fridays, which is definitely one of my favorite things, to go with my friends and visit all the food trucks and see where we wanted to eat. So even though we can't really have those kind of gatherings right now, there's definitely still food trucks you can visit. And I actually think Optimus Hall is still open right now to go with your friends or whatever with masks on and get food. And so there's definitely still ways to go out and support businesses, even though there's definitely precautions you have to take.
Yeah, I think honestly, speaking of food trucks, I think that's probably one of the best ways you could go out, because you will automatically be outside, and you won't be, the only time you'll really be in close contact would be in lines, and then hopefully everyone would be respectful and wear masks. So I think that's actually really good.
And I think it's also all out of your comfort and what you are comfortable with during this time. But if you are trying to look for a way to get out and support local businesses, a few of these that we've mentioned, I think are a great way to start.
And speaking of businesses that are not alongside the lines of food per se, but I think a tough thing over quarantine has definitely been finding ways to be physically active and to be fit. And I'd like to highlight one of the small businesses that I feel attached to in a way. So there's this sports performance and recovery center called Fight Back Fitness. It's located on East Moorhead Street, kind of next to the Levine Children's Hospital in downtown Charlotte. But what they do is they work with pretty much everyone, even cancer patients apparently, people who are in need of physical therapy. They work with athletes and non-athletes, elderly people. They work with everyone. But I've always admired what they do there, and what's nice is that they take on a really small number of clients and space them out throughout the day in appointments. So due to COVID, every single time I go into that building, it's hardly anyone there, so it's a really safe environment, which is pretty comforting. But another business which literally shares the same building is for Athletic Golf Fitness, and if you guys aren't golfers, then you may not be too interested, but I just think it's an interesting business. There's this physical trainer named Jonathan Avalos. I've been working with him for the past year and a half now, and he's totally changed my mentality of how I should be staying physically active and what works best for me with my sport. But he works out with a bunch of different people. I know he works out with a couple of other Mars Park students. So if you're ever looking for ways to be physically active or get some treatment or recovery for if you're an athlete or something, but that's definitely a small business that I feel attached to.
Yeah, on the area of fitness, definitely that's something I know a lot of people miss are gyms. And so that's definitely a good way to stay active. I know, like, me personally, I definitely miss, like, yoga studios a lot. Some of my favorite small businesses are Y2 Yoga and Vibes, because they have really good yoga, and I love to go there with my friends or just get some physical activity in, and that's definitely something I miss. So it's good to have options to go with a physical trainer or just find kind of a program that will help you push yourself physically even though we have COVID.
Yeah, and I think that gyms and yoga studios especially have really adapted to COVID and like what different people's comfort levels are with it. Like there have been outside classes, there have been Zoom classes, and I know that they're starting to open back up, but like I haven't gone back yet, and it's just whatever you're comfortable with. And I think that those are just really good options of like supporting.
Also, something I want to mention is if you're looking for something to do on a fun afternoon, you can always go to Crowder's Mountain with your friends. That's a free and way to go get some exercise, and it's really pretty and fun. So yeah.
So up next we have Paige, who has some questions for Dash, who is a hairstylist from Charlotte. Paige, take it away.
Hey Dash, we wanted to bring on a couple small businesses or just people who we know have been working through COVID-19 and to ask a couple questions. And I was just wondering, how have you adapted to coronavirus?
I think as a hairstylist, I've adapted by just stepping up my sanitation game. We always have been taught how to take care of our clients' safety from hair school. But I think now, just knowing what I do know about the virus, I've made sure to up my game when it comes to sanitation practices, making sure that my clients feel safe, and giving them peace of mind.
Yeah, I bet it does take a lot more cleaning just to make sure that everyone is safe and feels comfortable. But have you noticed any changes in business as a result of COVID-19?
And I definitely have. We were closed for 3 months, and I was not able to bring in any income in that 3 months. And then since being back, some of my clients are still not ready to come in the salon. They maybe are immune compromised or just not really comfortable. And then because of being closed for 3 months, a lot of my clients have found that they're able to push their appointments out further, maybe not come in as often. So, and then, we're not able to do multiple clients at once. That is CDC protocol. So then I'm not able to bring in as much revenue in a day as I normally would.
My third question is, what are some challenges you have faced as a result of COVID-19? How have your customers supported you through COVID-19?
Some of the challenges that I faced was at first when we were able to open after the mandate was lifted, it was kind of hard to find cleaning supplies. A lot of places were sold out. I've also noticed that even just as far as like hair supplies, color products, some of it has been on back orders, taking longer to get here than usual. And then, it was really an adjustment at first, wearing a mask and trying to work with the mask, work around masks when I'm working on clients' hair. It gets really hot. It's a little hard to breathe. Definitely adjustment. I'm starting to get used to it now, but it was something that I really had to get used to. And then, my clients were really amazing during being closed. Some of my clients that were still working were still paying me for their services if they had appointments pre-booked, just to kind of help me stay on my feet. I had a lot of clients just reach out and see how I was doing mentally, how I was, how my family was doing, and they continue to stay supportive, in any way that they can now that we are open. So yeah, it's been an outpour of love from them, and it really, really warmed my heart to know that, it's not just here.
And that concludes this week's episode. Thank you to all my fellow representatives for joining me today. It's so important to support small businesses, especially in times like these. In order to stay updated with all things Mars Park, it's important to follow at Mars Park High School and at MPHS_SGA on Instagram. Also, sign up for the Mustang Express email chain to receive important information about Mars Park. You can subscribe on the MPHS PTSO website. If you have any questions you'd like to add to the podcast, you can DM either Instagram account. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another Mars Park High School Student Government podcast episode. We look forward to having you. Bye.